capital, best business practices, success stories, and more. Now introducing our host, Jay Reynolds.
Welcome, business family, and welcome to our Christmas special. And I got to tell you, I have a Christmas present for you. Today, we have a unique opportunity to interview a young man that is blazing his own trail, a young business owner that has created his own space and is inspiring, thoughtful dialogue all over the place. What I want to do today is give you the opportunity to hear from him, to hear his story. I want you to know how it happened and why. Hey, well, you know that my name is Jay Reynolds, and I own Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing firm. This is a business of Black business. It's a show that's designed to help Black entrepreneurs and would-be Black owners start and scale up a business. Now, again, I told you I have a Christmas present for you. Today, we get to talk to Jefferson Noel. So anyway, without further ado, Jefferson Noel, please introduce yourself to this audience.
Hey, Jay, thank you so much for the great introduction. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to be on this show. As you mentioned, I am a professor at Florida Memorial University, South Florida's only HBCU, founder of BarberShop Speaks, 3-time published author. And one thing I forgot to add to the bio is I'm
and
also
the president is an alpha. The president is a really good alpha man.
That's right. One thing I forgot to mention is I'm also a TED speaker as well. I gave a TED talk on from college dropout to university professor. And so I'm excited to be on this show, and I'm excited for the conversation we're about to have.
Well, let's talk about BarberShop Speaks. I'm really interested in that, only because of the fact that, I grew up in what you don't know, we didn't talk about backstage, is that my dad owned a barbershop. He owned probably the largest Black-owned barbershop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Wow. And I shined shoes in that barbershop from the time I was like 7 years old to the time I was like 15, made just a ton of money in the barbershops. So I was there. I was listening to those discussions about sports and politics and all of those things and growing up, and education. I was there. And so I'm really very interested in your thoughts about BarberShop Speaks and how you came up with that concept and what it means to you.
So I was born and raised in Miami, the 305, and I went to Orlando for a few years to go to school. And when I decided to come back down to Miami to attend Florida International University, I knew I wanted to connect and meet new people. I wanted to form a new circle and meet people who are like-minded, who are business-oriented, people who were interested in making a positive impact in the community. And I was thinking, what is the best way to do that? And I came up with a lot of different ideas that were bad. And one day I was sitting in the barbershop. I was sitting in the barbershop chair, and there was this huge argument. And mind you, this is 2016. So there was this huge argument on who's better, LeBron James or Stephen Curry. And I'm a big basketball fan, and I'm an even bigger LeBron fan. And so I thought the argument was foolish, right? Like, who's arguing those things? But then, but I was like,
I got to tell you, that's hands down. Move on to the next discussion.
Move on to the next, right? And so I asked myself a question. I asked myself, what would happen if we have conversations that actually matter? What would happen if we became more intentional about the dialogues that are taking place inside the barbershop? What if we have conversations about financial literacy, dialogues about voter education, conversations around mental health awareness? What would happen in our community if inside the barbershop, which I deem is the community's classroom where everyone is both the teacher and the student, what would happen if we start having conversations that matter around topics that actually impact the lives of everyday individuals? Because the barbershop is a space for those exact dialogues. And that was essentially how the concept of BarberShop Speaks came about.
And I will tell you, in barbershops, it's a safe place, right? It's our haven. Whether you are a man in a barbershop or a woman in a salon, it's a safe place for you to articulate your ideas and take a position on something and know that you're not going to be judged, right? Because it's the perfect
Correct.
place to have that kind of conversation, and people expect you to have sometimes opposing views about things, right? And it's a really good time,
Yeah.
really good space that make that happen. And I saw that just doing almost the entire part of my growing up life in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, my dad's barbershop. Talk to me a little about fatherhood enrichment, that initiative, and what is its purpose?
Yeah, the Fatherhood Enrichment Initiative is an initiative that's near and dear to my heart. I was blessed to be raised by a phenomenal father and mother, and more specifically, my dad, who passed away last year, unfortunately. He
I'm sorry to
was
hear that.
Thank you. Thank you. He was a shining light in my life. My dad, he helped guide me. He helped teach me how to be a man. He taught me how to become a better person. And he has been a light for me. And I find that in our community, the Black community, one of the biggest issues that we have is a lack of involved fatherhood. And one thing that I realize is, one place that there's always men is the barbershop. And so I thought of the concept, the Fatherhood Enrichment Initiative, as a way to bring men inside the shop and have specific conversations about fatherhood, how to become a better father, how to get more involved in the lives of your children. And so the Fatherhood Enrichment Initiative will kick off here in Miami it'll kick off February 2024. And essentially it'll be a 10-month program between February and November. And we're going to meet once a month, and every month we'll have a different conversation, whether it's about how to have conversations about financial literacy with your children, or a conversation about mental health awareness, right? Or conversations around emotional intelligence, right? Those are deeply important conversations that fathers need to have, and they need to know how to discuss it with their children as well. So I'm really
Absolutely.
excited for that conversation. On our website, on BarberShopSpeaks.com, there's a tab that says fatherhood, and anyone who's interested, they could click that tab, fatherhood, and then they'll click another button that says it is an interest form. So if you're interested in being a part of the conversation, we're just meeting once a month starting in February, and I believe it will be a good way to have conversations with the children, with other fathers, with other mentors, so we could grow as a community together.
Well, we're not talking about basketball in this particular case, right? So how are you, really quickly, how are you marketing that to try to attract those brothers to come into the shop? Because you're not talking about basketball, you're not talking about football, you're not talking, you're talking about something that is, let's call it cerebral. How are you getting brothers to do that really quickly?
That's a great question. When I first started BarberShop Speaks, if you look at all the old flyers, I used to put free food, free performances. I used to put a whole bunch of those things. And I thought that was the thing that would attract the people in our community. But I was
Yeah.
wrong. I realized that they actually came for the conversation because that's something that they were hungry for. And so I removed although we do have free food, but I removed the free food. I removed the
I
performance.
got you.
All of like the bells and
Hey, well,
whistles.
look, I got to tell you, we got to take a break. We got to take a break
Yeah.
to pay the bills. But when we come back, I really want to talk about your book program and how that's set up and how these things dovetail. So we'll be right back. We'll come back and we'll talk about the book program.
Absolutely.
Miami-Dade Transit's Better Bus Network is shifting into gear. This community-led effort creates better access and an improved rider experience with less wait times and more reliable service. The new network provides more frequent and faster trips to more parts of the county, increasing transit access to jobs, education, healthcare, and quality of life. Learn about the new routes and new connections by visiting miamidade.gov/betterbus.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Demesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
It's time to find a health plan that can keep up with your life. A plan that makes getting care convenient, with doctors around the corner.
I can get used to that.
Plus, 24/7 access to care. Plans that keep more money in your pocket, with plan payments as low as $0.
$0. Looks good to me.
Let's find your health solution. Click to speak to a dedicated Florida Blue agent today.
Welcome back. Now, I can tell you one of the things, Jefferson, that I was an athlete, but I was also a bookworm, right? I love to read. Books would take me places away from South Baton Rouge, where I was growing up. I just had a love and affinity for books. So I'm really curious to know about your Books for Free program and how you're reaching out to the community and how that's set up.
Yeah. So as we speak, there's bookshelves inside 4 different barbershops here in South Florida. 3 of them are in Dade, 1 of them is in Broward County. And we place bookshelves inside barbershops. So while kids are waiting for a haircut, instead of being on their phone, instead of playing games, instead of just sitting there and doing nothing, they can go to the bookshelf, grab a book, read it while waiting for a haircut, or even read it while getting a haircut. And also they can take the book with them to their house so they could build their own personal library. And we're grateful to have this program in partnership with the Children's Trust, in partnership with Miami Book Fair and the Kiwanis Club of Northeast Dade. And it's a beautiful program because I recognize the importance of reading books, because when I was young, my dad, he built a bookshelf inside of our house. Well, he built a library, to be more specific, inside of our house. And so we were raised around books. And although it took me a while to realize the deep significance of that, I quickly realized that the reason I am who I am today is in part because of my dad and my mom's their persistence on the importance of education and being surrounded by books my entire life. It helped me to become who I am. And so the barbershop is a community space. Kids are there sitting for hours waiting for a cut. And so they could grab a book, read it. And then some of our barbers even give kids a free haircut if they come back with a book report. And so I think that's incredible.
Wow.
And so
How cool is that?
for our partners. Yeah, it's amazing.
So it seems to me that all of your programs are they circle back. They're interconnected. Talk to me how the intentionality of that. It seems like that was very intentional. But tell me a little bit how all your programs tie back to the BarberShop Speaks series.
Yeah, it's definitely our mission. Each and every one of these programs, it ties back to our motto. And our motto is education through conversation. Education through conversation. I believe once we begin to communicate with one another, we begin to share our thoughts, our feelings, we begin to share our expertise, we share more about ourselves. That's how we can grow as a community. And these programs, the Fatherhood Enrichment Initiative, I'm excited for it because it's something that we need, and we will educate one another through the conversations. The Books for Free program, it's incredibly important for our kids because we are behind in literacy rates. And so we need that in our community, right? And then there's another thing that we do. If there's a natural disaster, we will tap into our barbershop network, and we'll have donation sites inside the barbershops as well. And so we care about the community. We care about giving back. We care about building with one another, one barbershop at a time.
Talk to me a little bit about, because I understand the outreach, right? And then you're
Yeah.
going to have some barbershops that are progressive barbershops that will take this and say, "Hey, look, I'm all about this. This makes sense to me. I'm plugged into the community. I want to be a part of the community. The community is important to me." So you're going to have some people that embrace this fairly quickly. Tell me a little bit about the reactions from the community with your series, about the reaction you've gotten about your series and about your initiatives, and tell me how that's working.
They love it. The community loves what we're doing, and they love it because they know the reason why we exist, the educational conversation. That's something that they've been experiencing their whole lives, right? A lot of kids, when they go to the barbershop, their barber is their first mentor. Their barbershop is a person that helps them with their homework. The barber is the person that helps them with relationship advice, and they teach the kids in their chair how to ask the girl out to prom, right? And so they are already accustomed to these type of conversations. As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine named Evan Leapart. He's the founder of Kitty Credit. He's one of our sponsors with BarberShop Speaks, and he's in Tulsa right now. And he sent me a picture. He was inside of a museum that spoke about the deep significance of barbershops in the Black community. And I read it, and I texted him back and I said, "Man, what we're doing is spiritual, is deeply spiritual, because it spans back to hundreds and hundreds of years, how powerful and impactful the barbershop is in our community." And so when people hear what we're doing, they love it, they get involved. We did it in obviously South Florida, but Orlando, Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia. Most recently, we've had conversations in Washington, D.C. And everywhere we go, people love it and they feel impacted and changed as a result.
So how are you touching these people? Obviously, you're teetered to South Florida. How are you touching these shops and salons that, typically speaking, are going to be a little bit careful about an outsider? I'm not saying that you are an outsider. I'm just saying basically in our neighborhoods, you have to know somebody to go in a barbershop and them to embrace your program. How are you making that happen?
That's a great question. Whenever I do an event in a new city, I always fly into that city, whether it's weeks or months in advance, and I start to have conversations with people in the community. And I literally walk the streets and I go inside different shops and I ask, who are the leaders? What are some of the conversations that are happening inside your shop? And I begin to build relationships, because what I like to say is, or what I like to do most recently when we did the event in DC, in September, when I went there a month prior, I told them, "Look, I do not want to have a Miami barbershop speaks in DC. I want to have a DC
A
barbershop speaks
DC
in
barbershop
DC."
speaks in DC.
Right. And so
Exactly.
that's how
Yeah.
we approach the situation. We always do it with other leaders, because who am I to come in and start conversations in another city without first tapping into the people who's already been doing the work for years?
It's impossible. And we're very guarded. It's like the temple, going into the temple and trying to preach in the temple, and you've
Correct.
never been there before. That's not going to happen, right? So I was very curious to know how you were forging those relationships locally to have that credibility to be able to go into those spaces and to be a part of that. So that's very interesting to me. Uh,
Yes.
Tell me, give me your final thoughts on the significance of Black barbershops and salons.
Yeah. So
I mean, you've spoken through that a little bit, but give me your 1 minute thoughts about that.
Yeah. So you mentioned how the barbershop is the perfect place for people to share their thoughts and ideas. And the barbershop is a safe space. And it's a safe space in that the barbershop is diverse, not only in the type of people that are there, but the type of ideas that can be shared there. Whether you're a liberal or a conservative, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, whether you are making $300,000 a year or $30,000 a year, you have an opinion. And the barbershop is a safe place for disagreements. And when we have disagreements and there's friction and we could talk through it, then we can progress as a society. And so it's culturally significant because the Black community is not a monolith. We have different thoughts, we have different ideas, we have different ways that we view the world. And all of those things converging within the shop, all of those thoughts converging within the shop is important for us to build with one another.
Yeah, I got to tell you how many times I sat in the barbershop or listened to conversations and actually changed my views as a result of something that somebody said that I thought was just truly credible. They had a truly credible opinion about something that moved me from one place to the next. Now, again, I told the viewers that this was going to be Christmas special, right?
Yes.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to actually take a look at one of your talks in a local barbershop in Miami Gardens. So we've never done that before, Jefferson. Congratulations. we get to share this. So when we come back, we'll take a look.
Miami-Dade Transit's Better Bus Network is shifting into gear. This community-led effort creates better access and an improved rider experience with less wait times and more reliable service. The new network provides more frequent and faster trips to more parts of the county, increasing transit access to jobs, education, healthcare, and quality of life. Learn about the new routes and new connections by visiting miamidade.gov/betterbus.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
It's time to find a health plan that can keep up with your life. A plan that makes getting care convenient, with doctors around the corner.
I can get used to that.
Plus, 24/7 access to care. Plans that keep more money in your pocket, with plan payments as low as $0.
$0. Looks good to me.
Let's find your health solution. Click to speak to a dedicated Florida Blue agent today.
And we're about to have a conversation in about 30 to 45 minutes. It's titled My Money Matters.
I have the power.
I have the power
to create success.
To create success.
And to build the wealth that I desire.
And to build the wealth that I
desire. Our mission is protecting and creating economic opportunity for all.
Understanding the things that I want and the things that are very important to me. So if it's not very important, I don't need it right now. I get it later on in life. So I see that everything devalues, so I just wait patiently.
So if somebody asks you how much money you need, you tell them exactly the number it costs you to live a year, which is all your expenses. So that's the journey when I talk about financial literacy. How can you make passive income pay all your bills?
I would have made my money work for me since I was in college. So as early as possible, get the parents talking to financial experts.
We're taught a lot about credit score. We're not taught a lot about net worth. Because the reality is that if we start talking about net worth early on and teach you that most of your decisions financially should be based on your net worth, you see a change in how we perceive money.
Just to not discourage you just because you think license, that means the person is going to charge you a lot. That person you may be part of the niche that they want to serve, and they have a price point that works for you. So don't be discouraged.
Our mission, as Carl said at the beginning, is to create ownership and economic opportunity for everyone, especially, this is in our mission statement, communities of color, low-wealth families, women, children, and immigrants. That's why we exist as an organization.
Wow. I got to tell you, that's just what I thought it would be. That's just as impactful as I thought it would be, Jefferson. So well done. Well
Man,
done.
I got emotional watching that. It's so important what we're doing, and I'm really grateful for everyone who came out and supported and listened and learned. Man, I really did get emotional. Thank you for playing that video.
Hey, no worries. I tell you what, we've never done that in 2 years. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Everybody got a chance to see that and enjoy it as much as I did. What's next for you, Jefferson? What are your next initiatives?
Our goal is to continue to expand the program with the books inside barbershops, the Fatherhood Enrichment Initiative. We're so excited for it starting in February 2024. And also another initiative that I didn't mention before is the Clippers of Change Initiative. So we're actually going to bring in a nonpartisan organization to come in and teach barbers how to have conversations about politics with kids, because the election season is coming up and people will be speaking a lot about elections. And so barbers will be trained on how to have conversation with kids. And we're going to come out with a book called Clippers of Change, where a mayor is sitting with the kid inside a barbershop chair, and he's explaining how the barbershop is similar to politics as well. So it will say something like, the same way that you are waiting for a haircut is the same way people wait in line for a haircut. The same way you tell your barber how you want your hair to be done is the same way that you tell your elected official the type of laws or rules you want to see in place. So I'm excited for the Clippers of Change initiative.
Great. Sounds like an amazing initiative. And I got to tell you, I could talk to you for another 30 minutes, but I can't. So thank you, Jefferson. Continue to make a difference. I'm really proud of who you are and the things that you've accomplished. This is the Business of Black Business. My name is Jay Reynolds. I want to thank Legacy Magazine for making this important. And thanks again for young brothers like Jefferson Noel that basically are taking leadership role in our community. I'm proud of you. See you next time, the Business of Black Business.